Hello friends, welcome. I have created this project, the Laravel REST API project, and I have used the insomnia to make requests. So forget all the skills. We have make a skill CRUD, so get all skills, single one, store new skill, update and delete. And I'm going to leave the link of that video in this description. Now in this video, I'm going to create the React project and use the Laravel API to make a CRUD for skills. And I have done the same thing with Vue.js. If you're interested in that, I'm going to leave also that video link in the description. So let's get started and create a new React app. Copy this. Okay, go in the terminal, paste that command in, and I'm going to name the project React-REST-API. Okay, now cd in the project. And let me just open this with VS Code. Code. And now let's run the npm start. Okay, here we have the project. Now I'm going to open the app.js and remove everything inside here. Just leave one div. I'm going to install Tailwind CSS here. So let's remove this app CSS file, also the logo. And let's go in the tailwindcss.com, get started, framework guides, choose the create React app, and let's copy this command and paste that in here, terminate, paste that command in, hit enter, then the npx, copy and paste it. Then we need to add this line inside the content in the Tailwind config.js. So let's open the VS Code Tailwind config inside the content. Paste that in, save, close. Next one is to copy the base, components, and utilities and add in the index.css file. So in here, select all and paste only the base, components, and utilities from Tailwind CSS. Save that and run the npm run start again. So let's say npm run start, and here we have the project again. Okay, now we have a blank page, and I'm going to give you some classes here. So let's say bg slate 200. Now let's install also, I'm going to open the terminal inside here, and I'm going to install the React router and the Axios, because I'm going to make request with Axios. So let's say npm install react-router-dom. Okay, and the npm install Axios, like this. Let's close this one now, and inside the source directory, I'm going to create a new file, a new directory named components. And inside the components, new file, and I'm going to name it home.jsx, and it's going to be React arrow function component. Let's save, close. And then inside the components, I'm going to create a new folder, name it skills. The same thing I have done in the Vue project. And inside the skills, I'm going to create 3 files. The skill index.jsx, which is going to be a React arrow function component. Also the skill create.jsx, which is going to be React arrow function component. And one more, skill edit.jsx, and this one is going to be React arrow function component. Save and close one by one. And here, or let's go first in the index.js, and I'm going to import from the React router DOM the browser router, and I'm going to wrap this up with that. So let's cut this and say browser router, and now paste that up here inside, save and close. In the app.js, I'm going to import from the browser, from the router, the routes, the single route, and also the link from the React router DOM. And also let's import the components. Import the home component from components/home. Also import the skill index from components/skills/skill index. Now let's copy this and paste 2 times, change the name to be skill create for this one and skill edit for the second. Okay, now inside this div, I'm going to add another div with class name to be max width of 7XL, MX auto, and min edge screen. Okay. Inside here, I'm going to add a navigation. So nav with UL to be, give it a class name of just flex, and then add the li with class name to be margin 2, padding 2. I'm going to give it a bg indigo 500. On hover, we are going to change the bg to be indigo 700. Text white, and give it some rounded, so rounded MD like this. And in here I'm going to use the link we imported from the React router DOM. So let's say link to the slash is going to go for the home. And now let's copy this li and paste, change the link to be to the skills/skills, and the name is going to be now skills like this. And let's save and let's see. Yeah, we have something like this. Good. Now let's create inside this div with max with 7XL. I'm going to add routes and then the single route with the path to be for this one slash, and the element is going to be the home component. Close that. And let's close like this the route. Copy and paste 3 times. Change this to be skills. So when we navigate to the skills, the element is going to be skill index. Then when we navigate in the skills / create, the element is going to be the skill create component. And the last one, we need to add also the ID. So let's add :ID and /edit. And also the element is going to be the skill edit component. Very good. Let's save. And if we go, as you can see, we have home here. And if we go to the skills, we have the skill index. Very good. Now, when we go to the skill index, we need to make a call. To make a call to this URL and get all the skills and display in the table. So first I'm going to open the flow byte and copy the table from there. I go to the docs and we have tables like this. And I'm going to copy this, the first one. So let's copy this and go inside the skill index. In here, I'm going to add the class to be margin top 12 to this one. And inside, let's paste that one. If I save, and now we have something like this. Okay. Now we need to make a request to get all the skills and display in the table. So let's go here and let's import from React. We don't need the React. Let's import the use state and also the use effect. And also we need to import the Axios. So import Axios. And then let's say here const skills and set skills is going to be equal to use state, and initially is going to be an empty array. Then we need to make a call to get all the skills. So let's say use effect and inside here we are going to call for the when this component is going to render. So let's say I'm going to say const get skills is going to be an async function because the Axios is returning a promise. So let's say async, and I'm going to say const here API skills is going to be equal to await and make a call. So Axios dot get, and we need to add the URL inside. So let's copy this URL here and paste it. Okay. And then I'm going to say set skills to the API skills dot data 2x, because as you can see, we return data here from the Laravel resources. Okay, and now here, let's call now the get skills function like this. And if I refresh, inspect the element, go to the components, and I have installed the React here. And as you can see in the state, we have 3 objects. So we have the skills. Let's make a loop here. And in the table, we are going to display the name. So here we have the name, the slug, and the ID. So the name, the slug. If you want the ID, okay. If you don't want, I don't want to show the ID. And the price, leave it empty because I'm going to add the button for edit and delete. And then let's remove to here. Okay. And let's cut this and say curly braces skills dot map, and I'm going to name it skill here. And let's return that one. I'm going to remove this and also this two. And here, let's display the skill dot name inside here, the skill dot slug, and here is going to be the edit and delete button. So let's say edit slash delete just string, and let's go. And why we have the state here. So go to the console. Yeah, we need to add, change this class name. So let's replace the class with class name like this, but that is not the problem. Why we don't have? So we call skills and we map. Oh, we need to return. I just say here. So let's say return. Sorry for that. And now we have all of them. We need to add here the key, which is going to be the skill.id. And now we are okay. So refresh. Yeah. We have the name of the skill, the slug, and the edit and delete here. Very good. Now I'm going to add a button here to go and create a new skill. So up here, okay, so in this div, inside this div, I'm going to add another div, and I'm going to say class name to be flex. I'm going to say justify end to be in the end, and margin 2 and padding 2. And let's add a link here. We need to import the link from React Router DOM. And as you can see, I have import now. And this is going to send us to the /skills/create. Like this. Let's give it some classes. So I'm going to say class name to be equal to px 4. I'm going to say py2, and let's give it a bg indigo 500 on hover the same bg indigo 700, text white, and let's give it rounded md. And I'm gonna say new skill. Let's save it. What I have, this new skill is going to be inside the link. Save it, and yeah, here we have. If I click, we navigate in the skill create. Okay, let's open the VS Code and let's go now inside the skill create. And here to this class, I'm going to say class name to be margin top to be 12. Now we need to add the form here to create a new skill. So let's say form here, and I'm going to give it a class name to be max with md mx auto. I'm going to give it a padding of 4, and let's say bg to be white, maybe shadow md, and let's give it some rounded So rounded small. Okay. And inside I'm going to add a div, the B class name of space y6. This is going to be the parent one, and here I'm going to add the div for class and just let's say margin bottom of 4, and add the label. We need to say HTML4 here, label for name, and let's say some classes. So class name, give it a block, a margin bottom of 2 maybe, and I'm going to give it a text, small, font is going to be medium, and let's say here name, and then we need to add the input. So input, not index, but input. Okay, let's give it some classes. So class name, I'm going to say border gray 300, text gray maybe 900, text small, rounded is going to be MD. Okay, let's give it block class and width full, and I'm going to say a padding of 2. Okay, and let's close now this one, and if I save, and let's see what we are going to see. Yeah, and I think it's okay for now. We are not going to stick on the styles, just to have some form. Duplicate this, change the HTML from name to be for a slug. Also here say slug, and let's save it. We have the name in the slug, and we need to add the button. So let's add a div with class name to be margin bottom of 4. Okay. Class name to be margin bottom 4. And let's add the button with some classes. And I'm going to copy the classes from the skill index. When we have this button here, just paste it here and say store like this. Let's save and maybe say margin or my for like this. Okay, and I think we are okay now. Now let's work with the logic. So we need to import from React the use state, and let's create a constant for, I'm going to say form values, and set form values equal to use state, and I'm going to add an object with a name to be initially an empty string, and the slug initially an empty string. Okay, and in the input, let's say now the name is going to be for this one name, and the value is going to be the form values, and we need the name in this case. And on change, I'm going to create the on change method. So let's copy this, and I'm going to say here constant on change, and this is going to have an event. And now let's distract from the event. So I'm going to say const object distraction, and I'm going to distract the name and the value from the event dot target. Okay, like this. And now let's say set form values and distract the form values we have, and say name is going to be what the value is, like this. Okay, now the same thing we need to do for the second input. Just change the from name to be slug. Also here slug. Okay, and why we have this form values here, form values. Yeah, form values like this. And I think we are okay. And here we have make the same mistake. So form values. Now let's see if I refresh and inspect the element, go to the console, everything okay, skill create. We have the state with a name and the slug empty. Type something in the name, okay. Type something in the slug, and we have that. Very good. Now we need to send a request to this URL, and with a name and the slug, and create that. So let's import again Axios. And as you can see, we need to import Axios here in the skill index and also in the skill edit. So for that, let's remove this one, and let's create in the source directory, let's create a new folder, context. And inside here, I'm going to create a new file, name skill context.js. And here I'm going to make all the logic to get the skills index. So here, this one, we can leave it, or we can do there and just import the get skills and the skills from there. Okay, and we don't need to import Axios. So let's make all the logic here. So in the skill context, let's create first. We need to create a context. We need to import from the React the create context, and also let's import the use state here because we need to create a state, and also let's import the Axios here and make all the logic inside. Now let's say const, and I'm going to name it skill context is going to be equal with the create context, like this. And we need to export default this, so export default the skill context, like this. Okay, now I'm going to create the provider, and I'm going to export name, export, and const. I'm going to name it skill provider, and we need to add the children, the props children here, or let's distract because we need only the children here. And let's make the logic with the provider. Now let's go inside the app.js, import that provider here. So import the skill provider, and I'm going to wrap everything with the skill provider. So let's cut that and paste down there. Save, close, and if I refresh, go to the console, so we have the export const skill provider. We need to return here. So let's say return the skill context dot provider and add the value. Here we are going to add an object with all the values and add the children here. Like this. And we are okay. Now, every component, because we wrapped that, we can access the data in this context. Okay. Now inside here, I'm going to go and let's cut this one from here and paste it inside here. And also this on change, cut from here and paste it here. Let's go the skill index. And I'm going to copy this, cut, paste also that one inside, and copy this, maybe only this one. And I'm going to leave the get skills. I'm going to import the get skills and call it here. So let's leave it like this right now. Go to the skill context and create only the get skills method. And because we are here, I'm going to cut this one and let's say axios dot defaults dot base URL to be equal with this URL here. Now we are okay. Good. Now let's also, I'm going to create a constant for a single one. So copy and paste this one, change to be skill, and also this one set skill. And we need to make the same logic for the single one. So let's say const get single skill is going to be equal with an async function. And as I said, that we are going to have the ID here to get a single skill. And let's say now const, and I'm going to say response to be equal with await axios dot get and add the URL, which is skills, because now we added the base URL here. We have more clear here, skills, and add the plus the ID. And then we can say set skill to the response dot data dot data, like this. Okay, and now let's go to the skill index, but before we need to return that. So let's return the single skill, all the skills, also the method to get all the skill and the single one, get skills, like this, and also the on change method. And I think we are okay. Also the form values. Now, if I save it like this, let's go in the skill index first, and we need to import. So let's remove now this use state. We don't need, also remove this. And let's import the skill context. And from React, we need to import the use context. And now let's say here const object distracting, and what we need the skills and also the method to get skills. So let's say get skills is coming from the use context, and the context is skill context, like this. And if I save, and let's go in the skills, and everything works correctly. Just we make the logic in the skill context, because we are going to have also for the create, edit, and so on. Now with the skill index, we are okay. Let's go and work with the create. Here we need the form values, the on change, and let's remove this. Oh, we need to import the use context from the React, and let's import the context, which is the skill context. And let's say here const object distracting, we need the form values, the on change, and this is going to come from the use context, and the context is the skill context. And if I save, and let's go to this one, and in the components, skill create, we get the form values, which are the name and the slug. And if I type something, as you can see, we updated that. And if I type something, yeah. Okay. I think we are okay now. Now let's, we can store the skill. We are going to make the logic in the skill context. Okay. So let's say here const, and I'm going to name skill, or let's say store skill. And this is going to be an async function. It's going to have an event, because we have a form here. And let's say first here event dot prevent default. Okay, we don't need to reload that. And now let's try and catch the errors. And here also we need to create a constant for errors. As you can see, we need errors. So let's say const errors and set errors to be equal with use state, and initially let's say an empty, let us say an empty object. And down there, as I said, we are going to say try and catch. So try, await, and now we say anxious post, the post, that one, anxious post, the URL is going to be skills. Again, we have made the base URL, so we are okay with that. We need to post all the skills, but we need to add here the name and the slug, and we have them in the form values. Form values is going to have an object with the name and the slug, so we are okay. That's okay, but when we create a new post, we want to update the skills, because we are going to add one more. So we need to call this get skills again, and this is going to make an API to the skills and set the skills with a new one. So let's say get skills. Okay, and then because we are here where we are stored, we need to go back to the skills index here. So let's say we need to import the use navigate from. So let's go up here and I'm going to import the use navigate from the React router DOM. And let's say down there, const navigate is going to be equal with use navigate like this. And down there, so when we call the get skills, I'm going to say navigate. And where we want to navigate to the skills. So let's say navigate to the slash skills like this. And then if that is okay, but if we have errors, we are going to catch the errors here. So catch the error, and we are going to check if the error dot response dot status is triple equal with 422. We are going to set errors to the error dot response dot data dot errors, what we are going to get from the Laravel. Okay, and now let's go and add the store skill here in the value. So store skill, save, go in the skill create and import here also the store skill, and on form we need to call that. So let's say on submit we are going to call the store skill. Let's save and let's see. Let's go here and let's see now what we are going to get. Let's say what we have here, Laravel, Vue.js and React, and let's add inertia, and inertia say store, and as you can see we navigate to the skills and we have the inertia here. Very good, but if we go and create a new one and just we have also the inertia still here, we need to have a blank one when we come here, and also if I store we have 422 but we don't show the error. So let's go and make that logic in the skill context. We set the errors, so here we are okay, just we need to show in the form. And just let me see if we have added. Yeah, let's add also the errors in the value and import the errors here. And after this input, I'm going to say curly braces errors dot name if we have the error with a name, and add the span. So let's say span with the class name to be small text. So text is going to be small, and let's give it a text red of 400. Okay, and we need to display inside here the errors dot name and the first one in the array like this, and just copy this and do the same on the slug. Just change from name to be slug and also Slack here, save, refresh, and if I say store, okay, undefined reading name, errors, and if we have import errors, okay, if we have the errors name, we change errors and errors here. And why we cannot read the name here? If the errors name, we say errors dot name in the skill context. We say set errors to, we need the errors like this here. And now refresh. Yeah, we have the errors. Very good. And also if I just add, because we have the slug inertia and in the Laravel we validate for the unique. So let's say here again, inertia. And for the slug, but the slug is going to be unique, so it's going to have only one. And if I say, yeah, we have the slug has already been taken. Okay, good. I think we are okay now with the create. And let's work with the edit. I'm going to copy what we have in the create here. Let's copy that and go to the edit and paste it. Okay, now in the skill create, we have import the form values, and let's import this shoe first. And then copy this and paste it right here. Just we are not going to use the store skill, and let's remove that from here. Let's save. Let's go first in the refresh, and here I want to add a link to go to the edit. So let's go in the skill index, and we have that for the edit and delete down there. So let's say I'm going to add a link. It's going to go to the I'm going to add backticks here, slash skills, slash $, curly braces, and add here the skill ID, skill.id, and also slash edit. And let's add also the class name. And I'm going to add class name, what we have up here. Something similar, so just copy that and paste it here. I'm going to change the indigo to be green for this. And let's say edit here, save, and yeah, we have the edit. If I click, we go to the skills 3 edit, skills 4 edit, and skills 8 edit. Okay. Now, as you can see, we don't have the values here. In the skill edit, we add the form values, and initially the form values are an empty string, but when we come here, we need to have the name in the slug of this skill. So we need to make a goal to get a single skill here and set that skill based on that ID. So let's go in the skill edit and also import the single skill and the get single skill like this. And I'm going to import also the use effect. And then here, let's say use effect and call that get skill, get. But here we need to have the ID from the params here, from the route. So let's import the use params from React router. And let's say down there, I'm going to say let I'm going to distract the ID from the use params like this. And now let's call the get skill ID. And if I save this, and as it is now, and come here and refresh, let's go to the components, skill edit. In the context, as you can see, we have the skill with ID 8, inertia, inertia. Go back and let's select Laravel, go to the skill edit, and now we have, for the context, the skill is 3 and the Laravel, and the ID is 3. Okay, now when we call this get skill, so let's go to skill context, get a single skill, we set that, but I want also to update the values for the form. So let's say let's do first create a constant for the skill or for the API skill, and it's going to be equal with the response data.data with this one, and here we set the skill to the API skill, and also I want to set the form values and specifically the name to be the API skill dot name and the slug the API skill dot slug. And with that, now if I save, and as you can see, we immediately update. So let's select Vue.js. We have Vue.js, go back, React, we have React. Just we need to change this to be update in the skill edit. Down there, let's say update. And now we need to create the update method. Okay, so let's go and create a constant and say update. You can name it what you like. Update skill is going to be an async function. And here we are going to get an event because it's going to submit to the form. The first thing we are going to call the event prevent default. Okay. And let's try and catch. So try and then catch the error if we have. And if we have, we are going to do the same thing. So let's copy this and paste down there. Now let's say here await and call axios dot put. Now we need to put the URL is skills, but also we need to add the ID. So skills slash, and the ID is going to come from the skill here. We have the skill because here we make a call and we update the form values. So let's use that in here to update that. Let's say skill.id and add also the form values here. And the same thing, we need also to call the get skills to update the skills because we make an update, and also navigate to the skills like this. And I think we're okay now. Let's just add the update skill here. Save. Let's go to the skill edit and also get that. So let's say update skill. And on the form, we are going to say on submit, we need to call the update skill. And let's save now. Go up here and I'm going to update the Laravel. So let's say here dot, click update. We navigate back to the skills and we have the dot here. Let's update also the slug to be dot update. And yeah, we don't have any errors, everything okay. Let's click again the edit and let's remove both of them. Click update, we have the URL, set that, we need the slug and click update, everything okay. I think we are okay now with the update. Let's work with the delete. I am going to add the button to delete the skill, and let's close now this one and just open the skill index for now. And here when we have the link, after the link I'm going to add also, now here I'm going to add the button and let's say give it some class names. So I'm going to add the same we have here. So let's copy and paste it, change from green to be red. Okay. And let's say delete here. Just in this one, we need to add margin, or let's say here, give it some space x2. And yeah, we have something like this. Now on click of this button, let's say here on click, what we want to do, we want to delete the skill. And let's do that logic in the context. So the last one, let's come here and let's say const. I'm going to name it delete skill. And this one is going to be an async function. And here we need to have the ID to delete that. Okay, and let's say await axios dot call the delete now. Add the URL, which is skills slash plus the ID we get. And then we are here. So what we want just to call the get skills to update the skills. So let's copy, paste that in. And now let's add the delete skills here, delete skill, save, close this, we need to import also the delete. It's not the import, but the get from the delete skill from the context. And now on click of this button, we need to call the delete skill and add the ID, which is the skill.id. Let's save and let's go on the browser, refresh, and let's delete the Vue.js. Okay, this one and this one, and we delete it. Let's create new. Let's say Laravel. Let's edit, say dot dot dot. We have dot dot dot. Let's remove everything, update. We have errors and we can update. Okay, friends, I think we are okay. Everything is working correctly. The home page skills is going to show edit and delete and say new skill. Okay, now let's go and create the new one. We redirected back and that's it. Okay, but if I go and create new skill, we have the Laravel here, so we need to clear the for. And in the skill context, when we store new skill, we say here get skills, but this is not necessary because we also navigate to the /skills, and when we navigate to the skills, here we have the skill index. We call the get skills, so it's not necessary to call the get skills here, but what we can do, we can I'm going to create a constant and say initial form is going to be equal with this object. So let's cut this and paste it here. And now the form values is going to be use state and the initial form. And if I come here and refresh, inspect the elements, go to the components, create, and open the form values. We have the name and the slug. If we type something, yeah, we update the name and the slug. Okay, but then I want, when I store new skill, instead of get skills, let's say set form values to the initial form. So initial form is the empty name and the slug. And the same thing I'm going to do for the when we updating the skill. So let's paste that in, save, refresh, go to the skills. We have created the Laravel. Let's create Vue.js now. Store, we redirected back. And as you can see, we updated the skills. And if I go to new skills, now we have empty. Good. Let's create also the React here. React and store. Very good. Now let's edit. We have React.js. Let's go back. Vue.js. Okay. If I say something like this, we have the name field is required and the slug field is required. Now if I go to the skills and say new skill, we have the errors. So let's work also with that. Okay, now here we need also the set errors. The set errors are an empty object. So in the skill context, right here, I'm going to add also the set errors. Let's save and let's go in the edit, import that. So set errors. like this. And now let's call that set errors, and it's going to be an empty object. And the same thing I'm going to do in the create. So import also the set, not import, but get the set errors from the use context. And also we need now the use effect here and call that use effect. And here we need to say only the set errors to be an empty object like this, and add an empty array as dependencies. And let's go edit, remove this, update. We have the name field is required. Let's go back, new skill, and now we are okay. And I think we are okay. So also if we delete, let's go, and when we delete that, when we delete a skill, we can say also to check if window dot confirm. So if we're not confirming the window, and let's say here, are you sure? We just return here. Otherwise, it's going to call the wait and delete the skills. So let's save and let's see how it's going to look. Refresh. Say delete. Are you sure? No, nothing happened. Delete again. Click OK, and now delete it. And that's it about this video, friends. I hope you enjoy, and see you in the next one. All the best.